This much more sophisticated board is from RCA.
So you got that later in history?
This board is still active in our current 2015 world. This board, which was built in the 1980s, is still sitting in the Minuteman missile silos, controlling the launch of the Minuteman missile. And you see here's again just a two-sided board, but with a lot of transistors. We still weren't into integrated circuits at that point. So the difference between this one and this one is really, this had a vacuum tube and this had transistors. So this board maybe had 10 flip-flops on or something like that. And it was a much more sophisticated system. This system was a real simple. The SAGE system, what Burroughs did with his vacuum tube plug-in, we took raw radar data and we, as a radar swept around, we would count the number of hits. If we got 6 hits in a row on a target, as it hit it, if it was big enough, that became a target. And so we recorded the distance, and because we had 2 types of radar, the elevation, the distance, and then sent it back in digital form. If it was less than 6, we didn't record it, so we tried not to send back too many false alarms. And it was that simple. That was the radar data processor. The radar sight had a conventional radar which read distance, and then it had a bobbing and weaving one that measured elevation. So we had to combine the 2 different ones. So that made it a little more complicated. Again, we're talking, this is 1955 we started on this job. I started on the SAGE system in 1955. This one goes back to 1951, right after I got out of school.
And which one is that again?
This is the one that was used for the memory system.
Right.
With a gas discharge tube to create a pulse.
Right.
By discharging a capacitor. The IBM would be the same frame as the SAGE system, but was a second generation. IBM also started with vacuum tubes. Let me get the IBM into the picture. Well, it probably doesn't show.
That's right.
Yeah, IBM there.
Yeah.
But they started into a second generation, which Burroughs, to my knowledge, never did. Now, maybe after I left Burroughs, they got a contract to upgrade it. But the same boards, as far as I know, are still in the silos. These are magnetic core memories that were developed definitely at MIT, but then built and produced by IBM or maybe by a subcontractor. And they have very tiny little ferrite cores, magnetic cores, in a matrix. And you read them by sending a pulse vertical and horizontal, and where they met, it would flip a diode, and only where they met. So it took a double-sized electric pulse to flip a ferrite core. An enormous amount of research over a several-year period went into developing the ferrites, and then picture the complexities of the wiring come out of here. You got wires coming out at every level and wires coming out, and you had to bundle those wires and get them in. So you had, it was the engineering challenge and connectors. But these were built up in layers, 3-dimensional. So it became a 3-dimensional system, and was the
Hello.
was the memory package. Good morning. was the memory package for the air defense system in its time period.
Are the diodes in there now, or they're missing?
No, there's no. This one didn't need diodes.
Oh, how did
This
it?
is a
How
whole
did,
different concept.
how did it maintain memory in the core then?
By whether it was by the orientation
Of
of the magnetism itself.
oh, okay,
Oh, the memory was in the magnetism.
okay, oh, okay.
This is just a little sample